to be an interesting one. So if you guys aren't aware, we did a little bit of a kind of an intro or a trailer to this yesterday, but Martha Louise and her shaman husband Durek Verrett have been whatchamacallit. They've been a couple and they're kind of funny. So, yeah. Yeah, this was going to be in the AM. I must have put PM by accident. Oh no, it was scheduled for. Let me go back and switch it around. I might have done it by. Let's see. But hopefully people join in. Yep, let's edit. And it's supposed to be for. I can't change it. Never mind. All right, guys. Yes, we have messed this up. So hopefully we do have 92 people here now. So some people are slowly kind of veering on in here. 10 p.m. would be I feel like too late. It wouldn't be as fun. So we're doing this at 10 a.m. So that way we have a little bit of time here before the Crown Report to kind of contemplate what this show means for the future of Norway. Because I think that's an actually really interesting question here. So I was just going to see here real quick, guys, if there's any way for me to update the time. Not really. So it is what it is. Hopefully people can join in. And yes, Erin says here, this is so cringe. I disavow her as a royal for my country. Yeah, this is going to be cringe in the extreme, everyone. So Martha Louise, obviously Princess Martha Louise, as she is still technically known, and her creepy shaman husband, Durek Verrett. Oh, this is going to be the challenge of the day, everyone, to get through this without like cringing in disbelief. So we will go ahead and kind of begin. So I don't have the ability to share the show on my screen. And that's for some obvious copyright reasons and everything like that. So if you do want to tune in, then you will have to pull it up yourself on Netflix. So just wanting to put that out there because I know not everybody has Netflix and those sorts of things, but it's just like something I may show you my screen from time to time, but there's just simply no way for me to actually like show it to you. Like I've attempted to do that once because we were going to do a watch party with the Crown, and I kept trying to pull in the page and it was blank. I'm like, well, that doesn't work. So yes, it doesn't work. We will go ahead and begin here in a second and start checking out the cringiness for sure. So if you pull up Netflix, Rebel Royals. Oh my gosh, this is going to be crazy. It's going to be so wild. Oh my gosh. And this honestly, guys, could do a heck of a lot better than some of Harry and Meghan stuff. And the reason is that it is trash TV. That's what Martha Louise and Durek Verrett are. They are kind of the cringy trash TV that you kind of like, it works for kind of royals and getting attention. Harry and Meghan sort of like, Harry and Meghan had some camp and cringe in the Polo series, but they didn't really even lean into it as much as they should have. So, and it is, yes, on the homepage. It says only on Netflix. So guys, I am putting my headphones in so I can listen to it. So you guys will hear me react to it. Of course, you guys can pull it up on your Netflix yourself, or just if you just want to hang out. Yeah. Carol says, love your top. Why, thank you. Actually, it's funny because I was going to give this top away, and then I realized I kind of like button-ups with like leggings and stuff. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of in this trend now. That works for me. So it's kind of nice too because it's really long and I kind of like that. So it is on here. There they are. The cringe, ladies and gentlemen. It's an hour and 41 minutes. My goal is to not stop it too much because otherwise this could go on for a real long time. So my goal is to not like start it too early. So we will go ahead and like try not to stop it too much and try to enjoy the cringe together. I will like share with you guys my thoughts as I watch things because it'll be hard not to Not to hold in the cringe factor, guys, because oh my goodness. But without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. So if you guys have your Netflix pulled up, we can start it right now. Okay, I pressed my play button. And you might be able to hear it outside my headphones because hold on, my headphones are not connected. So we'll have to connect it here. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Oh, we're taking deep breaths, guys. Being shaman, Mary. This is like pretty much the trailer so far. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is surreal for him because he was going to get married to a man, but this woman who was rich and a little eccentric and royal said, "I love you." And he's like, "Okay." There are obligations, that's life. If you can't deal with the obligations, then like marry a different woman. And now he's speaking gibberish. An ancient language. That's nothing. These women are paying to sit around and listen to this guy speak nonsense. Oh, he's a Scorpio, guys. Because she has money and fame and influence that he doesn't have. Oh gosh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Witch doctor marries princess. That's actually not bad description of the situation. Yep. Aw. La, la, la. I feel so sorry for the king. Yeah, me too. He's if you share his interests, then I severely question you. If there's any man who says, "Well, I was thinking I was gonna end up with a man," like, I don't think you should marry the guy. Yeah, Alice says, You know, I have no problem with people finding meaning in different customs, but all the breathing and gibberish is just weird." I think too, for me, we all know, like, it's fake, and so that's what I think there are people who are shaman or, like, um, shysters, I don't know if that's the right word. Like, there's con artists, and I he he screams that to me, and so there's people who are real yeah. Carol says, "Can I say Martha Louise has lost her marbles?" Yeah, I mean, she's not really she struggled with them for a long time. Carol said, "Have you noticed the group is all women?" Yes, yes, but he does the press doesn't like him. It doesn't have anything to do it has to do with most likely that he's a con artist. Like, he would be with somebody else if she wasn't a princess, let's be honest. Chose him, like, hear the narcissism, chose me, like, if she's come on. Alice says that dog look, I died of boredom, it does. Uh, so it says, "Martha lost her marbles many years ago, probably when she met the mother of the man she later married, all woo-woo." Ah, that's sad. And he sadly took his own life later, so very posh music, intimidating royalty. They weren't really supposed to use any of the royal stuff in here, and yet they are, so I'm curious how this is gonna play in Norway. I love that question, "When did I realize I was a princess?" She says, "When did you realize your father was a dentist?" She's like, doesn't really it wasn't like something that came to her, but I do find that to be an interesting question. Jill says, "Why can I not run YouTube Live and Netflix?" You would have to do it on something different, unfortunately. She says she's highly sensitive and she processes things very deeply. You know, sometimes you can maybe be like, can she not? She thinks things very deeply, but it's like, and she claims she knows she's psychic and stuff, and it's like, sometimes maybe you just can't process things well, and you need better processing capabilities, not to turn to shamanism. Mm. A friend apparently introduced them, shaman direct. They have the same energy, guys. All this energy. He's magical and has powers, like guys. He's magical and has powers. I can't. Oh my gosh. Ugh, cringe. We're in California now because he's American, so we had to make a big fuss about that. La la la. I have my hard time with woo woo. My. What can he do with his eyes closed? He has a strong relationship with the spiritual world. Everybody, do it with his eyes closed. The spirits are in the room with him as he's doing this interview. Oh my gosh. Oh, he's just like moaning in his house by himself. Like, what the heck? Ah. I mean, honestly, it seems more demonic to me than anything, and I don't use that word lightly, but that's what he seems like to me. He's a 6th generation shaman, even though I think his family claims that that is actually not the case. He's ringing a literal bell in front of people. Heather says, "This guy is an idiot." I feel that a little bit. Yep, I feel it. I feel it. Liz M, even if they weren't royals, this is so bad. It is. It is. Honestly, it is. Yeah, Jill says, "Crazy how many people are willing to throw their family under the bus for a few bucks." Yeah. Oh, he's pulling it out of his system. Like this is like, oh gosh, charlatanism. That's what this is. This is like, the fake guy in Wizard of Oz, like the fortune teller. That's what this kind of guy is. That's just exactly what he is, in my personal opinion. MAGA woman says, "I'm a Black Christian woman. If I married a Norwegian royal, I'd live as low key as possible, and I'm normal." Yeah, most people would live normally. He is not normal. I'm sorry, he is not. Ma shaman is my mood up. He is F hyping there. Yeah. Jill says, "I am pulling up my son's YouTube. He is at school." Aw. Priyanki says, "I can't decide who's more cringe, Harry or Martha." It might be Martha. He was single, but also like friends with benefits of various people, including sometimes his clients. We have like this music that's like grand and oh my gosh, the angels are singing, because she talks to angels. Something about my spirit animal. Heather says, "I bet he still has friends with benefits." Yep, I agree. Lady Ritz says, "Are you at the part where they say Harry and Meghan are their heroes yet?" Not yet. La la la. He got famous after meeting the princess? Yeah. Oh, like he was already gaining a bit of a foothold, but like obviously became a lot more famous. Elrin says, "I wonder why both the king's children gravitated toward narcissistic partners." Yeah, you gotta wonder. Donna says, "I've read he is HIV positive. Has this been confirmed?" I have read that as well, now that you mention that. But I don't think he's wanted to, like, confirm it. I think he's danced around, but I think he's also done the thing where he's lied about having various ailments or whatever. Jill says, "I think some people I feel something in their guy and heart. It makes me you feel like it is legit. For some reason, I think President Trump is going UK is a bad idea. I feel it oddly. Hopefully not." Heather says, "His past life in Egypt, early, many past lives. Please, if you enjoy spirituality and all that cool stuff, don't pass it off as a teacher." Yeah. Doesn't matter who he marries, guys, or being from another planet. It's about the energy, i.e., the money. I mean, like, he says, "I fell in love with her." I am sorry. I just doubt that. He's transparent, open about everything. Ugh. Mm. Martha has psychic abilities, guys. They're a witchy family. That's just what you want to hear, right? Right. It was like coming to Harry Potter land. Harry Potter is fake. Heather says, "I definitely don't buy that he's in love with her." Me either. Natasha says he fell in love with her, more like he fell in love with her money and royal titles. 150%. So where am I in the show? I am about, it doesn't tell you exactly. I'm less than 129. I am at, it says, I'm not an hour and 29 minutes into it. I have an hour and 29 minutes left. I gotta say, like, she's probably paying for everything because Norway has a fair amount of money as a royal family. She accepts all part of. He likes to play with games too. He has a woman inside him. As a diva. I don't get it. He can go in all directions, apparently. I mean, he can go also to all partners. She's like, just comes across as cringe and a bit desperate. It's weird. The boyfriend's wearing the crown, not her. Like, that should be a sign. Now we're back to Norway showing old coverage of the royals. She's been harassed by the press her poor life, her whole life, poor dear. You know, she got to be a princess. Gotta suck. She focuses on the negative energy thrown at them. And it's like, again, she comes across as somebody who can't process things very well. He's meeting the royals. Alice says she was so sweet when she was young. She did look sweet. Another relationship rushed. Liz M says, "Why is all about being free?" I think it comes from our society has become more narcissistic in general. And so there's this obsession with this idea of us being quote unquote free and not like confined to different things. And I find that to be a bit, selfish and self-contained because like we have enough time to think about stuff, you know? And that's just, I think it's comes across as very narcissistic to me. And they arrive in Norway and they're harassed. And he starts talking to the press immediately. Best not to talk to the press sometimes. He had 40 cameras in his face, which I betcha he loved. Okay, to be fair, he is as a black man in Norway, he would be fairly easy to spot. I do have to agree with that. Just kind of reality. I felt a little bit like that when I was in Uganda. So, but I also think he enjoys the attention. Uh, Beluman says the type of person who will do well with a royal would be someone comfortable taking a back seat. Exactly. Exactly. Because you have to understand you are not the most important person in the dynamic. Elizabeth says, thank goodness they don't want attention, right? Oh, meeting the royals. Mom was a bit worried because it was a shaman. Yes, you should be worried. This is so cringe. Oh, she has a safe where she can pull her crown now. It's not a crown, it's tiara. She does correct him on that. But he wants to wear a crown. He's weird. Ugh, he's in a royal palace. He's very excited, guys. This is his inner diva can come out, ladies and gentlemen. They just stared at him. How did they get video inside? He was wearing a kimono, cowboy boots. Yeah, maybe try to be a bit normal when meeting the fam. Oh, it's very me, me, me. I, as you say, Red says. Very true. Very me, me, me. Everything he did was wrong. He was supposed to wear a suit. Well, at least Martha could attempt to help him instead of just going, ah, the royals did not like him, ladies and gentlemen. We have her just like, and him, just like Harry and Meghan, throwing the royals under the bus. Well, can you blame them for not liking him? Like, I can't. They're in their 80s for Pete's sakes. They're just looking at this dude going, what the heck is this madness here? He felt awkward in his life. Aw, poor baby. My heart bleeds for you. If it doesn't work for you, then find somebody else. Oh, they have video of Princess Astrid of Belgium. Interesting. Wonder if she knew she was going to be in this. I don't think he liked being in the back, ladies and gentlemen. So I am going back. So look, he's seated 2 rows back from Martha, Louise, and Astrid. I don't think he liked that at all. Like, I don't think he was happy to be in the back in the slightest. Yeah, if you can't have the mannerisms that go with being royal, then don't be royal. It's just that simple. I'm surprised. I'm curious if Princess Astrid knew this would be covered. Oh, he complains about the conversations. They're so flat. They're not obsessed with him. That's probably it. And it's also like it's gonna be flat. Like being royal oftentimes is about small talk. They're not gonna have deep conversations, especially when there's 50 gazillion cameras around. People, it's like this is not hard. Ah, Princess Astrid came with presents. I don't think he got presents. I don't think he was too happy about not getting presents. He's complaining about the titles. This is very Harry and Meghan, guys. Oh, what did he say? But he doesn't want to learn. This is not hard stuff to learn. He says, "Your Majesty" to Princess Astrid instead of "Your Royal Highness." Like, he's almost deliberately mocking them, I think, in my opinion, because it's not that hard. Your Majesty is the king or queen. Your Royal Highness is pretty much everybody else who's royal. Like, that's not hard. He's being deliberately a brat about it, in my personal opinion. He does not want, he's very narcissistic and very controlling, at least in my opinion. He wants to be in the pictures, he wants to be part of it, but it's like, well, we just want the blood princesses, the actual princesses, not you. He's worse than Harry. He's almost worse. I get the sense. I don't think he likes being the errand boy. He kind of plays it. There says maybe the woman inside him is Megan. Rit says these are adults for goodness sakes. How embarrassing. Yeah, it is embarrassing. It is honestly that they can't function, apparently. Maga Woman says, does anyone know if royal conduct conduct background checks on potential spouses of royal members so they can dress red flags? They do, but I feel like because of sort of how things work, that's just not like, even if they have red flags, sometimes those things just don't go anywhere, or they want to give the person the benefit of the doubt. Or in some ways, like it's all about, well, who do you love? And those sorts of things. And that's kind of what goes, unfortunately. Donna says, meanwhile, we are celebrating the life of the Duchess of Kent, the first royal to convert to the Catholic faith and to be honored with a Catholic funeral in 300 years. Very, very cool. And so we will cover that later on the Crown Report. There was no like televised service of her funeral, in case you're curious. Yeah, because she's much more adventurous than he is, because he's kind of the prissy girl. He likes to go to the spa, guys. Is anyone surprised? No. Liz M says, at least he's not trashing his in-laws so far. He kind of is. He kind of is. Like, I feel like he's kind of subtly throwing them under the bus by saying they didn't like him, they didn't like his clothes, and then kind of complaining, oh, I don't know how this royal stuff works. Is it your majesty, your highness? Like, it's very easy to, this should not be very difficult stuff. Talks about her 3 daughters, who sadly lost their father. Ritz baby says, I'm watching. It's dramatic. She seems very rebellious, and something is a bit off with Martha. Not buying the love story. It's very staged. Feels off. Her father. Consequences. Yep. Carol says passive aggressive. Very passive aggressive. All right. I missed her introducing her daughters. I feel sorry for her daughters. I just feel so sorry for her girls. They don't have their dad anymore, and now they're stuck with this guy. Mag Woman says, how long do you think the marriage will last? Do you know if there was a prenup? I do not know about the prenup. I don't know if it'll be. I don't know. So one of the daughters says, we were just meeting one of mom's gay friends, is what they thought when they first met the dude. They keep calling him gay. So it was her mom's idea to introduce him to her daughters as her gay friend. Because that's what he is. At the end of the day, I am so like, why, Martha? Why? And why would you introduce him as your gay friend and then say, like, as you're leaving, oh, he's my boyfriend, and then like depart? It's weird. Aaron says, King Harold was not allowed to wear the woman he loved for years and years, and in the end threatened to give up his title, and they gave in. So his kids. Yeah, I think they overindulged the kids, unfortunately, and their loves. Red says Martha Louise is nothing but an overgrown wannabe influencer who is acting like Girls Gone Wild. No shame whatsoever. Yeah, and I feel like she has a clothing brand, and it's called like Hess or something. And it has a lot of H's in it. And when I first saw it, I always think it's Hermes because it looks like she's ripping off Hermes. I was like, could she think of something like the H is very similarly designed to the H in Hermes? I'm really surprised she hasn't gotten sued over it, to be quite honest. Balulama says she probably just needs a friend, probably. Priyanki says, I have a strong feeling this will not end well for Martha. Emotionally, I mean. No. Abertasso says, hi, Brittany and everyone. I'm so bummed I'm late. Very happy to be here with all of you. Just trying to figure out where you're at in the documentary. So we are an hour and 16 minutes away from the ending. It doesn't tell me how many minutes I'm in. He made a meeting to ask the king and queen for their hands in marriage. They're using obviously stock footage from something else in the palace and with the king and queen and stuff, which I'm sure is what they do not and did not want her to do. And they picked like I feel like kind of unflattering pictures. You know, they're standing there judging him. This is what true love looks like. No, their love is what true love looks like. They're like, they know you're got the blessings from mom and dad, but what else were they going to do? Maga says, even if my future fiance turns out to be an excellent, compatible match, I'm asking for a background check, medical checkup, and permission to interview his pastor, parents, and any siblings. That's not a bad idea. Maga woman says, passive aggressive people, aka noticeable pattern, is a huge red flag in any relationship. Yeah. Freja says, if it was just Martha Louise, I would think she was the black sheep of the family. But since Khan also married someone with serious issues, it looks like a parenting issue. It honestly does. And that's what's kind of the concern in the future for Norway is what's going to happen with the next generation. Are there going to be issues with Ingrid Alexandra and Maria or Magnus, Sir Magnus? He wants a royal wedding, everybody, because he's going to be a royal. Oh my goodness. Says, MAGA woman asks, Brittany, do you think there's something effeminate about him that actually attracts Martha versus straight masculinity? I would imagine that's the case. Imagine there's something to that. Linda says, I feel like I'm watching Harry and Meghan, but in reverse. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Heather says that this is just weird. It's just weird. It's weird. People says they'll be getting divorced in 2 years on her Instagram and stuff. The people think they own the royal family because their taxes go there. Yeah, kind of, sort of, buddy. Sort of. That's kind of how it works. Yeah. Oh, his feelings are so hurt, guys. There's memes about him. Oh my goodness. They say she's brainwashed because she is. Oh. Oh, the royals didn't defend him in the press. And making people think they're just tolerating him. Yeah, they are. They're just tolerating you. Well, and it's like they can't go out and like radically defend him either. Because if they go too far and I feel like overly support him and things go really badly, it'll look badly for them. Yeah. So, like, people don't. So somebody calls him a scam artist. Yep. Ritz says, "I'll bet they all have clear consciences like Dimwit Harry. Too bad none of them know what that means." Yeah. Lola says, "I don't think it's because he's black. It's his woohoo junk talking." Yeah. Yeah. Woo woo. And like, mm. He said he was always a person who was engaging in everything. He modeled. He got caught up in alcohol and drugs because that's what I was going to say. You indulged in everything means everything. He was able to express himself freely. I'm going to guess that. Then it happened. What happened? So we have a ambulance. High blood pressure in his family. How old are Martha and Durek? Martha's in her 50s, early 50s, I think it is, or mid kitty. And then Durek must be 40s. I don't think he's 50 yet. He's 50. So he'll be 51 this year. And Martha's 53. So they're pretty close in age. Rit says, I guess this means Shaman expects to be King of Norway, like Megan expects to be Queen of England. No wrong. I think he wants to be Queen of Norway, to be quite honest. But apparently, because of his health problems, he saw spirits and became acquainted with the spirit world and all sorts of things. Sandvin, like Rasputin, he's a self-appointed spiritual figure and 10 years old mentally, like Martha. Kind of. They're interviewing his sister, and I thought his sister for a while was not a fan of his, so that's kind of interesting. Frasier says he can wear the ugly Star Trek tiara. Yeah. Mary Lou says, I meant Liberace. Yeah. Rit says, good one, Brittany. Why, thank you. Heather says, thank goodness Martha Louise is not air. That is very true. Although it's like you got to wonder, Hakan has his issues as well. So I don't know. So the question too is, does he have? So he was going to do nothing else but be Shaman Durek. And then my question is, because there has been accusations that he has HIV, so I'm curious if some of that health issue was related to that, and he's not saying that. Mary Lou says, "Can't we set him up with Megan?" Oh, I feel like the narcissistic egos would explode. They're both in one. I don't think Megan could stand him because there can't be two women in that relationship, and he's kind of the other woman. When is the best time to bring their energies together? They decide on August 31st. Oh, she's, like, doing a weird thing with her hands too. They're just so creepy. I almost attempted to cover that. So they're getting ready in Granger. I really want to go to Norway. It seems like such a beautiful country. Sandem says, "The king of Norway is my ninth cousin. I need to make a call and talk to him about Durek. A serious talk." Linda says, "Can't wait for the book." Oh, I know. It's going to be so good. Rich says, "He has not met the requirement of learning the native language to be royal like Queens Mary and Maxima." Very true. Oh, they're doing a wedding video invitation, guys. Oh my gosh. Ah. So they do a video wedding invitation. Mary Lou says, "Oh my goodness, such BS. Me gonna be laughing." Yeah. Carol says, "Exactly. You can respect Mary and Maxima. I can relate to their husband's culture." Homa says, "Shaman overhyped Megan." Yeah. Maka says, "Brittany, your reaction and live commentary makes royal content 100% more net entertaining. Now, authentic reviews are more highly valued than actual slop tent content." Very true. Very true. Lindsay says, "Late to the party, 20 minutes behind. This is hilarious." It is. It is. I'm gonna have to watch it to get it. Oh, they sent a curtsy and bowing video to people to help them understand how to do things. Oh my goodness. Days. Oh gosh, he just does not seem to into her at all, and she's too into him. Like, ugh. Come on. Priyanki says Durek and Megan are so similar they'll repel each other like magnets with similar poles. Yeah, they can't grift off each other, so they won't be into it. Mary Lou says, "Can you imagine your daughter bringing that home for Thanksgiving?" No. Heather says, "I personally don't think they can have a good intimate relationship. How can they? He's gay." Yeah, it's actually a great question. Aaron says, "The only good thing I can say about Martha is that both the weddings showed wonderful Norwegian heritage. Shame about the husbands, though." Very true. Yeah, Carol said, "Between Martha, Louise, and Hakan, issues are going to destroy the Norwegian monarchy." Yep. Yep. He thinks a European Norwegian wedding is going to be royal. It's going to be boring. He's very excited for his royal wedding, guys. It's going to be the realest, the coolest. Because he's bringing the American touch, y'all. Oh my goodness. So cringy. It's so cringy. I wonder if she's gonna reference her first wedding at all? Maybe. Yeah, you used to have great and high popularity ratings, Martha, until you and Hakon's, stepson. Hakon. It's true. The Norwegian royal family is very small, so you have an almost more intimate connection with them. And there's only 5 million people in Norway overall, so they asked Norwegians on the street, "What do you think of Martha? Cute? A little crazy?" Oh. Ritz says, "King Felipe is such a tall drink of handsome." He is, he is. I like that quote too. "Anyone has a shot with the princess if Shaman Durek can do it." But who's the princess? Shaman or Martha Louise? John Teloven? Jan Teloven? Hmm. Did I roll it in English? Law of Yolta. Okay, interesting. You're you're not to think you're anything special. You're not to imagine yourself better than you are. You're not to think you know more than we do. You're not to think you are more important than we are. You're not to think you are good at anything. Oh, you're not to think anyone cares about you. Ah, so it's a very self-deprecating. That is interesting. I do find that very interesting. Ah, that doesn't work for Shaman Durek because you can't boast about yourself. Now I could say that's almost yeah. Heather says Royals are Norwegians are humble and modest. Yeah. I do think that's really interesting. I think that could be too like you could almost overdo it, but yeah. Magwoman asked Brittany, would you plan a group trip to Norway for 2026, 2027? If we're all still here, I'd save up for that. So I would love to, but they don't really have one right now. But I might be working with a different travel company where I can do more personalized events. Safrachi says, Brittany, RNN is my go-to each and every day. What a better way to start my day with coffee and Brittany. Why, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, the kind of the royal expert says, like, why doesn't he do research on what Norwegians are like? Like, that's what I would do 100% is, like, try to learn what the culture is. And maybe I don't totally work with everything, but if you come at it with an air of humility and just like, well, I'm, American, so I will do things a little bit different, then I think people will be more accepting if you're trying and just not quite making it than if, you're just a bull in a china shop. He says he has to have compassion for the haters. But I think it's more about that, like, he doesn't care about them, and so it's hard for them to care about him. Lola says, "Carol, our queen is from Germany, and she's a wonderful person." Yeah, so I'm gonna guess from Sweden, yeah, because uh, it's Sylvia is a German, and she still has a bit of an accent with her Swedish. Mary Lou says, "Poor queen, met him now this." Maga says, "I've never met a Norwegian. Their people and their land look beautiful. They do. I'm not sure if I probably met somebody from Norway, but it's been a bit." Ah, complaining about racism. I think, I mean, there is something that exists, but I think he also is not trying, and that's part of it. You're not going to oh, he was at a royal dinner in Denmark. Ah, he's complaining about a dinner in Denmark somehow being racism, and because somebody asked and said, "Well, those people on the wall enslaved your people. What do you think about that?" And it's like, well, Denmark wasn't that big into colonization, so they weren't even the biggest offenders. I feel like I mean, it does exist, but, like, I think some of the antagonism towards him comes from his personality and his chosen career path, not necessarily the color of his skin. So hold on. So they call the differences shaman and the difficulty shamans having a culture clash, the king and queen of Norway. And they're right. They're right. It's a culture clash. A lot of it do it. And he's like, well, they didn't see racism, probably because it wasn't really there. Wouldn't you prefer they didn't see racism rather than thinking that it's racism? What racial slur? Oh, somebody else did. The family would do nothing to help him. Well, you are a man now in your 50s, buddy. You can help yourself. Like, why do they have to help you? Ah, well, they're referencing this. So this is interesting. So hold on. I have to go back for a second because he was upset that they didn't. And it was apparently only when Harry and Meghan went on Oprah that Harold mentioned that maybe, oh, did you feel you got treated the same way? But hers wasn't really racism either, the vast majority of the time. And so he said yes. So he says they wanted a family discussion because he was worried that he would go on Oprah like Megan did. Very interesting. But let's see. He's claiming why don't they help them protect them? And his parents listened to me. No tolerance for the way people are treating him. Did submit a press release condemning the alleged racism. Harry mentioned Durek. But they were doing that, I think, more to avoid the Harry and Meghan situation, not really because they probably really felt it. Aaron says, I honestly think his pigmentation levels matter not here at all, but his behavior makes him appear disrespectful and attention seeking, which are both taboo for good reasons. Very true. Lala says, well, it was an attack against what he was saying. Mary Lou says, is there a fashion Interpol? Arrest that thing. Liz M says, I definitely couldn't watch this without the chat. Your comments make it bearable, Brittany. Why, thank you. Carol said, Megan was bitter and angry due to the royal family would not bow down to her. Yeah. Sanvin says, if Martha married Denzel Washington, who would complain? Nobody. He was so happy, guys, to be at the gala dinner for Princess Ingrid Alexandra's 18th birthday. He was so happy. He's doing it for all people of color, guys, who haven't been able to step into that level of society. Excuse me, Princess Angela of Liechtenstein. She has happened to do just fine, and she's been married into the Liechtenstein royal family for 20 plus years. Oh, I don't think I congratulated Sherry on becoming a YouTube member. Why, thank you so much, Cherry. I do appreciate it. Congrats. King and Queen of Norway said they would always accept whoever they chose against um for to love, which I think is part of the problem. Yeah, I mean, Harold and Sonia's love story is beautiful, but unfortunately, I think it did have probably some unexpected reverberations with their own children in many ways, that they were probably too indulgent. And, you know, there is something to saying no. There is something to saying, I have concerns. So going over Akun Amet Maret. Not so much. They say everybody loves her, Metamara, but she's taken a huge hit after Marius. Yeah, and the people do deserve to be critical of the royal family's partners because it has dynastic implications. So you do have a right to talk about it. People are talking about how much in love Louise and Ari were. The royal family fights for their love, apparently. But very sadly, this love did not go well. So she has three girls, in case you were curious. So her first husband was definitely a bit of a free spirit as well. He was an artist. Louise says, "Hey, Brittany, do you think the Norwegian monarchy is too normal? Examples: Ingrid having a part-time job, living with her boyfriend, Khan marrying a single mother, etc." There is a level there, yes, where you could be too normal. There definitely is a possibility there. Definitely a concern because when you because you can find normal people who are well adjusted, but I don't think the Norwegian royals, from what I can tell, have a great radar for them. Yeah. Yep. An angel school. Yep. Yeah, Heather, an angel school. Is this stuff normal in Norway? I have no idea, but I don't think too much. So, Aber Tasso, Harry and Martha Louise both seem to have a deep need to stand for out or feel special and make questionable choices as if to say, look at me, I understand or get something I don't. Hope that makes sense. Yes, I agree. They want to have attention and stuff, and sometimes that'll go really sideways. And it has. So yeah, Ari was having some mental health challenges and she ended up getting divorced, Martha Louise, from her first husband, Ari. And so so the rumor was that he had other women when they divorced. This is Ari. and that he regretted everything with the loss. Oh, she's talking about her husband's losing his life on Christmas. That's so sad. It's very sad. Mm, mm, mm. Ugh, it's so sad. Very sad. Yeah. Priyanki says Ari's not here to say his part, so who knows which parts of the story are twisted now. I will say that's true, but one of the women who sort of confirmed it in the interview was apparently a good friend of his. And so I would guess it was probably accurate. But I just feel like the timing he did and everything is really quite cruel. Just terrible. Apparently, Marius, who was Crown Princess Metamarit's son, was quite close to him as well. So that hit him pretty hard. So, it's just so sad. And then she married this dude. Heather said, so she divorced her first husband for having other women, but married a gay man. This doesn't add up. Yeah. So Erin says the two kings before Harold had both had deep commitments to duty, fully taking on all noblesse oblige. I thought the current king did too, but doubt is creeping in now. I think so. I can't be surprised. Lola says my husband worked 3 to 5 years, and he said she is very strange. Sanvin says there will never be a documentary like this about the Japanese emperor and his family, 1500-year-old royal family, gold standard of royals. Yeah, but it's it's not very good either. It's almost a dead royal family because they only have one male heir because they've basically eliminated all the possibilities and all they've had is girls. Which who did you work with? Your husband work with for 3 to 5 years? If it was Martha Louise, I'd be interested. Yeah. La 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 says, I feel so sorry for the girls, her speech to her father. Very sad. Melissa says, this show is making me sad. Royalty is a privilege. Such a shame to see it being disrespected by this duo and their truth. Very true. I agree. I agree. Ah, in Norway. Okay. Erin says, I read a book Ari Ben was lauded for and found it pathetic, but Martha Louise was far from alone in believing this was great literature. Interesting. Red says, it's a matter of time before their strange union implodes. It's not going to be pretty. I don't think so. Love is all about scrambling through life together. She just sounds very pitiful to me. Because it's like because she was in love with him first, I think, too, it really does paint things in a concern like Does she not realize if she goes too hard and says her love and he's looking at her going, "Wait, she's a princess. She's a millionaire. She has all these connections. Yeah, we're in love. I can do this." I just Frasier says, "I don't think the monarchy will survive after Harold." I'm honestly that's kind of my big thought. Can it survive? I'm not totally sure it can, to be honest, guys. I'm just I'm just not sure it can. Apparently Martha Louise isn't a great cook and he's a little bit better. He says apparently he needs to get his strength. I don't know how he quote unquote lost his strength. Oh, it's a pretty winter scenery. Ah, because of his illness is coming back, whatever that happens to be. His kidney transplant was declining and lost it. Yeah, Heather says gorgeous landscape it is. Erin says, I don't think she has thought enough self-respect to divorce him. Who will give him more than she has? The marriage will last. It might. But he says, I suspect she's being used for his benefit and her loss, but she can't see it. Yep. It says her behavior is highly unstable and she's immature. Yeah. Lou says the Vikings fought for this. La 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 says, I think they will survive. They might. Carol says, it sounds like he's on dialysis. Yeah, I think that sounds like the case. Louise says, I think the monarchy will survive for a time, say 5 to 10 years after Harold dies, but not too sure it will pass to Ingrid unless she starts becoming a working royal like yesterday. Heather says, I'm so confused. I thought he blamed people for his own illness, right? I kind of missed some of that. Well, he says his family has high blood pressure and somehow that led to like kidney failure and a whole bunch of things. I honestly think it is probably I would not be surprised if he has HIV. Like I'd have no idea. I have no idea, but it just he's doing healing on himself, but not to the point where his kidney is functioning. So I'm just confused. Mac Sup says Martha is always a victim. Lola says we all know he's so impotent med because of Russia. Susie D says if Prince William as king has a new crew of royals carry on with the tradition dignity, all will continue. Priyanki says it's the opposite situation happening in the UK and Norway. In the UK, the public can't wait to have William as king. In Norway, I think the longer King Harold lives, the better. I agree. Liz M says, I'm sure all of the other monarchies are watching. Yes, I think they are too. Mary Lou says he has done his research on the royals, but he is open about it. True. Heather says, so much for the shaman's healing powers. Exactly. Lady Red says he made a public declaration online in 2012. He has HIV positive on a GoFundMe. Yes. But then I think he like walked away from it or something. So he hasn't been, but this would explain this level of health issues. At least in my opinion. I don't really know. He's at some sort of like health place. Yeah, because how do you like lose both of your kidneys? That's like pretty bad. Because I remember thinking the same thing with Selena Gomez when she had a kidney transplant. I was like, really young. And I mean, I know you have lupus, but how did you get through a kidney? There's been other rumors that explain some of that. Okay. Katie says, nurse here, high blood pressure can cause kidney failure. Good to know. And I would imagine combined with, it sounds like he indulged a lot in drugs and alcohol, self admittedly. So I would imagine that would have an impact as well. Heather says he has to be strong for the wedding. It's his time in the spotlight. Exactly. Frasier says Ingrid and Sir Magnus seem too close with Marius, especially after her speech about him being her idol and the boys' trip. Not looking good for them. I agree. Nancy says I need a shower bleach after watching these two for 5 minutes. Definitely feels like that. Oops, sorry, I hit the mic. There's a new menu for the wedding, y'all. You don't want to follow American culture for food? I'm sorry, but we do have good food. We do. We do. Oh gosh, he is such a wedding diva. He is such a groomzilla. He's complaining the menu is too fishy. I mean, I would expect that in Norway because one of the big things in Norway would be fish. Like that's kind of it. Mary Lou says European weddings are boring. I've spent millions of dollars on Hola magazines. Mm. Polish and Needle says, has it been mentioned what her daughters think about him? I think they're okay, but I don't think they're like super huge fans. He's a fashion police, guys. JGH. Unfortunately, the way Europe is going culturally, all the monarchies will probably be gone in 100 years or less. It is very sad. Yeah. Rachel says, I feel bad for all the people who had to help plan the wedding. Me too. Oh my gosh. Sandvin says 1 hour private session with Durek costs $1,500 US. Supposedly to be interesting experience. Heather says, how's Martha Louise attracted to this man? I do not know. I do not know. I don't see it. I don't get it. I do not want a man to ever be more interested in the mirror and primping than I am. I should always be more interested in primping in a mirror than he is. He's a peacock. It is not a compliment. Lola says, sorry, I have to go. Thank you all for today. See you later. Bye. Red says, what a whiny diva the shaman is. He is a whiny diva. Louise says, I cannot see the Danish monarchy being abolished in my lifetime, partly due to its popularity and partly due to how difficult it is. Yes, and I feel like the Danes are not as bad as some. And I think, too, if you limit outside immigration, I think you're going to be better off keeping your monarchy. Heather said exactly, Brittany. Oh, the astrologer didn't tell them to have the wedding at 3. It said the astrologer said it should happen between 1 and 2 o'clock. He has to get new coordinates, ladies and gentlemen, for his wedding. If you are basing your wedding time around the coordinates of an astrologer, like, give me a break. Give me a break. He's like playing with an umbrella while they're trying to have a serious conversation. He's very concerned about the vibe. Oh gosh. Ugh. Louise says, I don't see the Belgian monarchy being abolished either, as they seem extremely popular. And Elizabeth seems practically perfect. Yes. Heather Crawford says the Swedes seem to like their RF as well. I think so. And Ryan says, why does Netflix think these nutcases are worth watching? It's trash TV. There is something oddly hypnotic about the craziness. Let's be honest. Oh, he's trying to give them etiquette lessons. He's giving them etiquette lessons. They told him to shut up. We eat the way we want. Mary Lou says, no wonder cousin Carl Gustav looks so bitter around these people. He has a perpetual grump face. Oscar has a little bit of that too, Prince Oscar, his grandson. Miss Terry says, what a perfect man to marry. I know, right? Ray just says, the only monarchies that seem at risk right now are Norway and potentially Britain, depending on how William changes things. Yeah. Heather says, so he's trying to teach a princess on etiquette. Yeah. Maga says, Seafood big in Norway. That's my dream place. Same with Japan. I love seafood and lamb more than beef and chicken. I am a chicken and beef person. So I'm not a huge fan of seafood, but I understand the appeal and why that's just convenient. It's a very like, depending where you're at in this country. Like if you go to Hawaii, fish is very big there. Pacific Northwest, fish very big. If you're in the coastal areas like or like Boston crab and those sorts or lobster or whatever. Lady Ritz, I hope the numbers of the show are bigger than Harry and Meghan show to show the only thing bringing in eyeballs is a royal connection. Very true. And so, yes, and Princess Elizabeth's very classy, well-spoken lady. She'll be a wonderful queen of the Belgians. She will. And of course, he's complaining that people are investigating him in Norway. But yeah, when you're marrying into the royal family, again, there are dynastic implications that are at play here. And so because of that, people have a right to know. They have a right to question because you are connected to the government now. There will be times when government money is spent on you. Ergo, they have a right to ask questions. Oh my gosh. So creepy in this podcast. Carol says Florida's big on seafood due to 3 sides surrounded by water. Very true. MAGA woman says, Brittany, do you think the viewership will be with Love Megan? It'll be interesting to see. This is a movie, not a series, so that there's a little bit of a difference there, but it's so bad it's good kind of thing. It's kind of trash TV. I think that I'd be more interested in actually rewatching this to like do a full review on it. 100%. Siva says, I've been watching Netflix. This guy's a wackadoodle. He is. It says King Carl Gustav needs to chill out. He's adorable, but really calm down. Heather says, okay, I think this guy has a mental disability. Mary Lou says, if he was mute and wore normal clothes, all would be fine. Exactly. Exactly. He's causing trouble for himself. Hey, oh, yeah. And he had the thing where he would go and tell people in hospitals that, like, they're the reason they have cancer and stuff like that. So people, like, have questions. And I think that's perfectly fine. Oh, they're addressing the voice message rumors. Linked to a tabloid by because he's come on to his clients before sexually. And so it's a little Karen, King Carl Gustav had his affair with Camilla from Army of Lovers, so he used to chill out earlier. I'm not familiar with that, but Carol said you don't realize how important it is to be raised well. Yes. Siba says he seems to have a need to be the center of attention. Yes, very much so. Very much so. He's obsessed with the attention. The press do pay well. He has vigorously denied he engaged in any sexual misconduct and is pursuing legal action against the tabloid who reported the story. Now, again, I had somebody reach out to me about that. I kind of left it at the time because I wasn't sure what the legalities are on some things. And just got to be careful. But yeah, the Norwegian people struggling to trust the royal family. It's been hard. Yeah, they're a huge problem. And Marius is honestly the bit of the bigger issue because he has the more of the dynastic implications because he was raised with Ingrid and Magnus. So that's the much, much bigger question. But, sometimes, she's complaining about the press and everything. It's just the thing of if you choose the right person, sometimes you don't have to worry about some things as much, You choose good, you don't have to worry. Karen says there's a book about it, sadly. I'll have to look that up. I am curious. Frasier says, will you be doing a live on the fashion channel for the state banquet tomorrow? Yes, I do have it already scheduled. It'll be at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Last time I started it because I wanted to look it up and see when I did it. It was at 2:55 and we got the outfits about 40 minutes later. So that seems to be about the good time. So we will be discussing the fashion outfits. Fingers crossed, guys, for the Persian turquoise tiara. I'm still hoping. Still hoping. Abertassa says it's such a major red flag when someone who seeks attention calls people asking questions about their unusual behavior as I'm being attacked. Very, very true. Very, very true. It's it's unusual behavior. Like his stuff is unusual. It just is. Like if he was a normal priest, nobody would care at all. But it's the weirdness of it all. The obvious questions, the obvious, let's say, and argue impropriety in alleged impropriety in sessions where he's kind of almost taking advantage of his authority and the moment. Yeah. Apertasa says, oops, major red flag. Yeah. Frasier says, keeping fingers crossed for a new tiara. Me too. Like one of the things that bugs me about the Brits so much is that you only see the same ones on everybody every time. They have a big enough collection. They can designate a fair amount to be, I think, shared among the ladies, and it makes tiara watching much more interesting. Heather said, did they get the script from Harry and Meghan? I think so. MAGA Woman says, one would think Martha would question his healing shaman powers when he can't heal himself. Ladies, be grounded in scripture and critical thinking. Poor Martha. Exactly. Exactly. So, Martha Louise stepped away from having any sort of royal duties because of shaman Durek. Karin says, FYI, I really respect Carl Gustav, but he has his flaws too. All royals are human. Yes, they have all had their flaws, all had their issues. I think, though, it's like how you conduct yourself most of the time, really. Oh, she's sad. She's sad. She missed out. Gronky says, are you doing a live for the state dinner? Yes. On tomorrow at 3 p.m., I'll be announcing it on Royal Fashion News and on the main channel as well, because we will be doing a tiara watch party, which is oh so fun. Oh, so fun. MAGA Woman says, Brittany, do you know if any lesser royal Norwegian couple that is mixed race marriage that is working well? Not that I'm aware of. Because the Norwegian royal family is so tiny. It really is just them. And Princess Astrid, who's like in her 90s or late 80s. She's older than, yeah. So Heather says he loves being a celebrity. He does. Christine says, thank you for doubling with me today. You are welcome. So the photo rights for the wedding went to Hello Magazine, and obviously there was concerns and I think disappointment that she was earning money off her marriage, which, I understand. I understand. Because again, it feels very much like they're exploiting her title and everything. Their ridiculous photo shoot is like insane. So ridiculous. She's so creepy. I'm sorry. I think he's super creepy. Mary Lou says, "What is everybody on the chat wearing for the state dinner?" I don't know. I was actually thinking about what I would wear. Oh, it's so creepy. Rit says the self-absorbed behavior of these two is just embarrassing. As Sebastian Manscalo says, aren't you embarrassed? Yes. Carol says this documentary is definitely exploiting Martha Louise's royal status. It is. It 100% is. It 150% is. We have gone through so much pain and anguish. Oh, my heart bleeds for you. You know, like, you know, thinking of Charlie Kirk's family right now. They've been through things. You get a royal wedding. Stop complaining. You're fine. People just don't love you the way you love yourself. Miss Terry says, "Is she so desperate that she has to go out and marry such a charlatan?" Apparently. But she also okay, guys, it just bugs me so much, guys, that her clothing line, the way they use the H, it looks like Hermes. It looks like she's ripping him off, in my personal opinion. I don't think she is nearly as creative or like, yeah, as she thinks she is. Oh, we're getting excited and then we're learning a dance for the wedding. Ugh. Oh, she's looking at her so she's practicing with her tiara. Rich says, "I'll be in my jammies with pizza and wine." Honestly, like, the pizza sounds good. It's like, should we have a tiara pizza party? Should that be a thing? Should it be the tiara pizza party? It'd be a little early for some. Mary Lou says, "Who will be more elegant, Melania or the Princess of Wales?" I am not sure. I'm a little disappointed because I don't think we're like getting Ivanka and Tiffany and stuff, which like my heart is sad a little bit for that too. It's hard to say. I didn't love Melania's first state visit appearance, I gotta say. So I'm hoping for a little bit more this time. But I really want a new tiara. Like, honestly, what I care about are the new tiaras. I'm like, the Brits have so many. I want to see the turquoise. I think she'd look great in it. Renee says, "Hello, he got excellent health care for his ailments now." Very true. Very true. So now we're getting to the cringe fest at the wedding. I almost went to try to cover the wedding, but it was just gonna be too tough because it's, like, so remote, and you couldn't get easy, like, access to, like, hotels and stuff. Louise says, "We should just have a monthly tiara party where Brittany pulls out a tiara from the huge collection we all know she has in her closet, and we vote which one we like most." I do not have a huge collection. I do have 3. 2 for my friend and 1 I bought myself. I'm hoping to have a real one day. And we'll have a bigger announcement on tiara stuff, hopefully that we can start again next year. Rich says, "Yes." Apertasa says, "It's one thing for public figures to accept the public attention gracefully, but these two, the attention seeking here is so over the top, and that's such insanely vast understatement." Yeah, they're like the press attention is over the top, and he seems to love it, but like he doesn't love it when it's negative. It's very much like Megan. He loves it, but there's also times when he's like they're literally watching videos of themselves on Norwegian television. Like that's narcissistic. Rich says Melania will wow for sure. I'm curious if we got anything for that. Priyanki says, "I feel like Melania is wearing a hat." Yeah. Louise says, "What is your favorite tiara?" It's probably the Danish ruby tiara, to be quite honest. Uh, the Cambridge Lover's Knot or Queen Mary's Lover's Knot is lovely, but I do love the rubies and the Stewart. Heather says, "Oh, he loves having the photographers follow him down the street." He does. And the thing I have an issue with the British as well is that like because they don't allow a photographer really in to get good pictures or more than one photographer, it's like when we saw the Strathmore Rose tiara for the first time in 100 years, you could not see it well. It drives me bonkers how the British do things. Marlene says, "Hello, Brittany, looking lovely again. Lots of love from Belgium." Why, thank you. Ritz says, "I would also love to see Sir David and Lady Victoria at this banquet." They may be there. I'll have to look and see who's expected. Louise says, "What do you think of the backlash Queen Camilla has received today for not attending the funeral?" So it's a smaller family funeral, and she has a huge state visit tomorrow. If she's not feeling well today, like she needs to be well tomorrow. Like tomorrow's gonna be jam-packed all day. I 100% understand. If she's feeling under the weather, take care of it now because you will not be able to tomorrow. So the Trumps are arriving tonight. Okay. So we do have Melania's just wearing a full length trench coat. I'm really hoping. I'm a little. I'm curious what. I was really hoping for more. I'm curious what she'll wear when she comes off the plane. So, in case you guys are curious, because obviously this will be all day tomorrow for me. So this is what Melania was wearing as they left the White House. So they've officially left the White House to go for their state visit. So just in case you're wondering, they're on their way. Carol says, has to control the narrative, must make sure PR is positive. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that. Katz Zelen Bogan. I'm so sorry. I know I pronounced that wrong. Afternoon, South African viewer here. Why, thank you. Renee says, here we are saying loneliness is a very bad advisor. Martha Louise fell prey to it. Yeah. Aga says, TR pizza party, class and comfort. Carol says, I do wonder what American designer Catherine will wear. Yeah, I am curious what designer will be because she, like, basically, as far as I remember, except for maybe one Marchesa dress, she sticks to Alexander McQueen and Jenny Packham. And then we do have the added thing here of because obviously Sarah Burton moved to Givenchy. We've had the introduction of Givenchy, but I really consider that part of the Alexander McQueen crowd. So that's what she's done. So I'm just curious if we'll get a British or American designer here. I'd love to see her in something like from Ralph Lauren or Michael Kors. Those would be my two options. Apertasa says, yes, Brittany, you said it so much better. That's why we have been trying to say, give me attention, but then anything negative, oh, I'm being attacked. Exactly. Heather says, my favorite tiara of all European monarchies is the Dutch Melrio ruby tiara, especially when Maxima wears it. She wears it well. And Catherine Amalia wore it recently. Leslie says, I would love Catherine in the Belgian sapphire. That would look cool too. Carol says, I don't like that coat. Me either. It's very long. Bianchi says, the Strathmore Rose tiara is beautiful. I wish Catherine wears it this time. It'd be nice to see her wear it and hopefully get a decent picture of it. Mary Lou says, McQueen for day, Jenny Peckham for night. Maybe, but I think she'll probably wear an American designer at some point just because that's generally how they do it. I think the turquoise would be an interesting choice because, at least in the States, turquoise has a bit of a, like, especially in the Southwest, bit of a US connection. I mean, obviously it's from elsewhere too, but I just thought I just really want the turquoise, guys. I want the turquoise. I want the turquoise. I know it exists. It looks beautiful, their trip. Ugh, so cringy. Ah. Yeah, I think he was bummed, Shaman Durek, that they weren't with the king and queen on their ship. Because the king and queen were on the royal yacht. Bartossa says, wow, loneliness is a bad advisor. It's very profound. So true. Carol says, Catherine has been laying off Alexander McQueen due to Sarah Burton's exit. Very true. Ritz says, I wonder if Ivanka and Jared are going to tag along. Anything she wears will draw a ton of attention. I really hope she does. Leslie says, maybe Catherine would wear a red Carolina Herrera. That would be funny. Susie D says, favorite tiara, queen to Irish girls. Yes. Mary Lou says, we want turquoise. Marlene says, will you report the throne switch in Luxembourg in October? Yes. So I kind of debated, guys, initially not attending because I was like, well, I wasn't sure if I wanted to. And then I sort of decided to. So I asked for press credentials. We'll see if I get them. If I don't, I probably won't go. But because we do have the Belgian and the Dutch royals also attending. Katzen Nellenborg says, I hope this faux pas gets the attention of South Park writers. That would be funny. You could have the the battle of the cringe royals. JGH says the best tiara is a Dutch sapphire. It is nice. There says Americans are not crazy, lady. We are not. Lynn says, as an American, I feel a true need to apologize for the BRF for Wallace, Meghan, and now the Norwegian royals for whatever this is. Why do they always choose the crazy ones? There's a ton of nice Americans out there. Princess Kelly is lovely. Mary Lou, oh my goodness, she says Durek is a rock. I know that's a little scary. Polish and Needle says, do we know if Sophie and Brigitte will be there? There's Royal Duchesses and Princess Anne. Most likely, yes. They generally don't announce it, though. Carol says Catherine has worn Michael Kors, Ralph Lauren, Tory Burch, and Kate Spade before. Yeah, but I don't think she's worn gowns. So I'm kind of hoping for a gown. Louise says we want the Vladimir. that would be fun to see. Abertos says, I can't wait to see your take on the fashion for the upcoming state visit. Me either. I'm very excited. Tiffany Trump posted on IG stories a Marine One helicopter leaving the White House. So she maybe will be attending. I hope so, because it'd be just nice to even have more fashion to talk about. Leslie says, thanks, Lynn. Oh, he's so excited, I think, for all the people lining up to see him. Oh, it's kind of creepy for all his like groomsmen to be in robes standing up there. I'm sorry, but this was like I've seen the fashion from it. It was a bit of a freak show. Maud looked a little confused. Smiley said, sorry, I'm late. It's almost midnight here. I'm sorry. Mary Lou says, yes, like me, a nice American Cuban with good taste. Yes, there are those people. Or some brick says, Prince Andrew to be new ambassador to Washington. Oh, no. No. Also, Catherine Wart, Diane von Furstenberg. Yes. So I can see those for like the lower things, but it'd be cool to see an American designer for her big gala look. Lynn says, I don't like poo-pooing others' belief, but at one point, her parents step in and tell her to get some kind of help. Seriously concerned. They've let it go on for too long. I don't think there's any other option. If the groom is so worried about being seen, people have to put up sheets to prevent pictures. He's such a whiny diva. I'm sorry. Rit says, I'd love Sophie, but I hope she doesn't wear something matronly. Me too. Leslie says, I would love to see Catherine and Oscar de la Renta. I think that would be cool. Heather says, I hope Prince William will understand that this pomp, tradition, and grandeur of the RF that we love so much and doesn't do away with it. Yeah, I'm a little worried about him. Mary Lou says, Lord, she almost gave him her kidney. Yeah, she would 100% do that. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess they have to cover them and prevent them from being seen because they sold the exclusive photo rights. Oh gosh, this is so creepy. Yes, Heather said yes, Brittany, what a whiny diva indeed. Yep. Douglas says, oh, far out. I didn't know it was like this late, 11:41 p.m. Yeah, I kind of messed it up. I guess, didn't agree. I didn't put it correctly. Leslie said, agree, Heather. Yeah, he's a whiny diva. Orson Brick says, any progress on the cash for honors and investigation? I haven't really heard anything about that recently. Red says, I want Catherine to wear something Dior for the banquet that will get you know who in a tizzy. She definitely won't do that. It'll be an American designer or a British one. Heather says, the wedding is such a performance for him. It is. It is very much so. Okay, we couldn't really see any of the other royals. That was part of, I think, the deal with this, is that we couldn't really see them. Oh my gosh, there's some weird people there. Mary Lou says, too many feathers, not enough kidney. Orson Brick says, squashed by MI5, maybe. Abertosa says, the pre-wedding traipsing around the big fluffy white robes is so modest and understated. Nope. Yeah, it's really weird. Lynn says, I guess you can at least say the couple are owning their craziness more than you can say for the Montecito cosplay royals. Yeah, they are playing into it. And so that makes it a little bit better. Leslie says, so glad Martha Louise is past childbearing age. Very true. A De La Renta would be nice. It would be. So we're seeing this ceremony. We're about 8 minutes remaining. She's a woman fully capable of fighting dragons and trolls on her own. Oh my goodness. Oh, poor dear. Poor dear. Heather says there's no love story here, just like Harry and Meghan. They're trying to convince us all of this amazing love story that doesn't exist. Yeah, she is fully enthralled, and he's fully enthralled with the money and the titles, and he doesn't get a title, but he's fully enthralled with the idea that he's marrying a princess. Carol says Megan practically ruined Oscar de la Renta for me. Yeah. Lynn says no politics, but with Flotus and Princess of Wales, the fashion should be epic. I am so excited. You can see a little bit of Princess Astrid in a brief kind of thing. But I guess I don't know if it was planned, but I guess there's like a train or a fairy whistle or something that went off during their ceremony. That's quite large. Sue says untreated high blood pressure can cause kidney failure, usually combined with other illnesses. Good to know. Leslie says, unfortunately, I think Martha Louise did not process the death of her ex and was fully primed to be manipulated by the narcissist. Very true, although she did meet him before her husband died, or her ex-husband died. Mary Lou says, feel so much better about my dysfunctional family. The perfect, fun, wholesome hate watch. Heather says, we all know he is marrying her for her status. 150%. We all know that. We all know that. Oh, it's so cringy. They were so cringe after their wedding. Maga says, is there any mention of Durek's side of his family? Yes, his sister is there, which is funny because I think she reached out to me over email one time and we email corresponded very briefly about him. So has the tune changed a little bit? Kind of curious. I'm going to have to go back through and look at my emails. I think he keeps saying Guten Tag, but some of the languages are a little bit similar there. So that's just funny. It's just so cringy. It's just so cringy. So and I just feel like it's a little ridiculous to have kind of an over the top wedding for your second wedding. I think a little bit, especially after she had a big one for her first wedding. Louise says, I actually feel sorry for you, Brittany, that you had to watch that documentary. I hope you're all right. I'm okay. It's almost so bad it's good. Yeah. Like, it's so cringy to watch, but it's like, yeah. I probably need to rewatch it again to do like a full review on it. And I actually would not mind to rewatch it because I'm sure I missed some things in here and I'm curious what I missed. So, if you're curious as well, so Crown Princess Victoria, Prince Daniel, Prince Carl Philip, and Princess Sophia did go to this wedding. I'm as far as I'm aware, they're the only foreign royals who went. I don't think anybody from the Danish family went. Members of the Dutch family, I think, went. Constantine or something, and his wife Laurent, I believe they went. Brian says, as a Norwegian, I can't watch this series. I'm so sorry. Tex Illa says, I would just wonder what her daughter feels about all this. I do feel really sad for them. Mary Lou says, and I thought Miami was full of losers. Heather says, what do Norwegians think of Marius? And that case hasn't gone very well. Marianne says, not very happy. No. Liz M, finally. Yeah, it's almost over, guys. Heather says, he literally says this is a fairy tale love. Everybody who says this is fairy tale love, it's not. A shaman and a princess fall in love, guys. A Scorpio male dancing like Mary and Poppins. Carol says, it is done. Britta says, yes, please do a proper review. I will do a proper review. I'll just have to rewatch it because there's sections I want to pull out of it that talk particularly about the royal family and stuff. So I think that'll be something to do, but I may get to it today. I may not, because we do have the Crown Report in 3 hours. Because we have Prince Dog's Day in the Netherlands. We have the funeral of the Duchess of Kent. So yeah, it's let's see. It's funny. It's like, if you don't like us, basically you got to go boo, peace out. And it's like, I believe the Norwegian people told you the exact same thing. Oh my gosh. So yes, that was Oh, the crazy shaman and his equally crazy wife, just in different ways. So yeah, that was awful goodness. Let's wrap it up here because obviously we've been doing it for a while. Lynn says, my poor husband gets bombarded with a lot of Meghan Markle videos. I do think I can subject him to this video. Bianchi says, oops, he says, about growth, yes, growth of money and fame for sure, 100%. Kat says, shouldn't be renamed to the Real Housewives of Oslo Meet Ancient Aliens. Douglas says, I came in late. What did you watch? So it's called Rebel Royals. So it is about Princess Martha Louise of Norway and her creepy husband, shaman Durek Verrett. And the cringe is extreme. If you thought Harry and Meghan were bad, maybe we somewhat dodged a bit of a bullet. Shell says, did you hear him say, hi, mom? Hi, dad. We love you. When the king and queen were on the yacht. I did not. Aaron says, Marius is a spoiled, rotten brat. Let's hope the prison system manages to teach him empathy and responsibility. Yeah, because his parents have it. And again, that's a real big concern, I think. Carol says, saw some of the extended royal family at Catherine, the Duchess of Kent's funeral. Yeah, I need to go look in pictures for that. Maria says, hello, Brittany and Miss Pippa. Marianne says, Durek is out all the time in newspapers calling us racist. Yeah, and I just don't think you are. There's just not even, because yes, there's a history of racism in the United States and other places in the world, of course. But I think sometimes like the heightened focus of it on the United States sometimes allows people to think like that exists everywhere, and it just doesn't. Like, I think most of it comes from the cultural issues, rarely anything else. And that's just my personal opinion. But, I know the history of racism here obviously is very real. There's still pockets of it exist. So, although I think a lot of it is very over exaggerated, and it has benefited certain people to play into the over exaggeration of racism in the States, very sadly. Jenny says, compared to Harry and Meghan, there seems to be more authentic quality to the craziness. Because they have people who know the couple speaking, or it just feels more candid. I think it's more candid for sure. And they embrace their crazy. Carol says, also Prince Edward is in Guinea. Yeah. Heather says that was so bad. Douglas Von Vander Morin says, thank you. You're welcome. Abertasa says, yes, Brittany, this is almost bad. It's good. There's a lot of similarities, but difference with Harry and Meghan is that they've added the elements of cruelty and meanness, destruction of others. Yeah. Andrew says, hi, Brittany. I will watch it, but not Meghan Markle and her cooking. She lies all the time. And it's boring. This was actually somewhat interesting, like in a creepy way. Abertasa says, I couldn't have gotten through this without you, Brittany. Thank you, everyone. Mary Lou says, maybe his medallion did bring him luck. Are you going to sell it, Brittany? No, gosh, no. But yeah, so that is it for our watch party. I hope you guys really, really enjoyed it, because I did. And it was so much better to experience misery with company. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk about this on the Crown Report later today. I might even get a chance to like rewatch it before then and have thoughts on what this means for Norway, which I don't think is going to be very good. I just don't think this is going to play well. Lynn says here, you're always taking one for the team, Brittany. Let us know if if you need a GoFundMe for mental health. I don't need GoFundMe for mental health, but I will always take a GoFundMe for camera equipment. That makes sense. Oh my goodness. But no, you don't have to. So we have Kat says, King Harold is a peacemaker. Princess met Amara with a lung disease. Her son Marius with a rap sheet, and Martha Louise with the shaman. What can go wrong? Yeah, not very good. Wendy said, thanks for getting us through this, Brittany. Mary Lou says, get your tiaras ready for the watch party. Leslie says, thank you as well, Brittany. You guys are so welcome. Heather says, bye, everyone. And Carol said, yes, see you at 3. So, guys, thank you so much again for tuning in. Crown Report to go over lots of other royal news at 3, and we shall be